My name is Emma Wang, and I'm a high schooler who lives in the Vancouver area. I'm also a debater who is really interested in politics and how the world works. So today, we're starting a three-part series on how voting works here in Vancouver. We'll cover municipal, provincial, and federal elections so that you know exactly what you're voting for and how your vote counts. Today, we'll start closer to home with municipal elections. These are the decisions that affect your everyday life, from your parks and neighborhoods to your schools and hospitals. So, what exactly are you voting for? Well, in Vancouver, you vote for a mayor and 10 city councilors. That makes up your city council, but you also vote for 7 school board trustees and 9 park board commissioners. And here's something that makes Vancouver very unique. Unlike most large cities that use a ward voting system, Vancouver uses what's called at-large voting. So this is where every single voter votes for all 10 city councilors. This makes it so that everyone on the city council represents every single voter equally, regardless of whether or not they came from the same neighborhood. And Vancouver is actually the largest city in all of Canada to use this system. But who even gets to vote in the first place? Well, you need to be a Canadian citizen and at least 18 years of age by election day. And elections in Vancouver happen every 4 years on the 3rd Saturday of October, which falls on October 17th for this year. You also need to be a resident of Vancouver. But if you're 16 or 17, not to worry, you can register for the list of future voters so that you're all set to vote the moment you turn 18. And if you own property in Vancouver but happen to live elsewhere, you might still be eligible to vote as a non-resident property owner. Now the ballot. Those can get long. As Vancouver Sun pointed out in 2022, more than 130 candidates ran for these civic offices. Now, that's a long list of names to go through. But it's really important that you know all of these candidates as well as possible to prepare for the election. Now, why does your vote even matter to begin with? Well, that's because your city council passes bylaws on things like businesses, land use, noise, building, and how your parks and hospitals look like. And things like noise pollution or construction can really be a nuisance to your everyday life. They also approve funding for major projects and fund things like the arts or community services. Your vote decides who gets to make those calls. And I know voting sounds like the most complicated thing on earth right now, but the government is really trying to step up and make things easier this time around. They're already rolling out 5 different assistive ballot marking devices to help out voters with disabilities. They're hiring over 2,200 election workers, and they want to make sure that you show up to vote. So they're offering on-demand language interpretation in more than 240 different languages. But sadly, in 2022, voter turnout throughout all of Vancouver was stuck at just 36%. And as a Vancouver Sun reporter put it, in a city full of people who care so much about housing affordability and public safety, that disengagement should read less as apathy and more as a signal that something is broken, which is why these election expansions and your vote matters so much. So please, mark October 17th down on your calendar and make sure to register, research, and show up to vote. That's it for municipal, and next time we'll zoom out to provincial. Thanks so much for watching, and I'm Emma Wang.